Hey everyone, it's Jonathan, and welcome back to our yearly ranking of all the animation from last year. Today, Katie and I pick up where we left off in the last episode, and this time we're talking about the best of the best. This is our top 10 countdown of the best animation from last year, starting with number 10 and working our way up to our number 1 picks, which turned out to be extremely different. If you missed the last episode, we talked about everything else, counting up from the worst animation to our favorites just below our top 10s. Or, if you want a very extended episode, head on over to my Patreon because there you will find our full ranked list featuring over 30 movies plus extended discussions, all in one almost 3-hour and 20-minute episode. Otherwise, if you're just here for the best of the year, let's get on with Katie's and my picks for the top 10 animated films of 2022.
Honestly, I'm gonna be real about my top 10. Like, these were like the hardest. Like, I was just like, they're all number one. I love them all so much.
Yeah, I feel like the bottom 3 or 4 of my top 10 are all kind of interchangeable.
Uh-huh.
And the top 6, well, the top 3 are definitely, like, I do have a clear winner, but the other 2 are very, very close behind. And then the 3, 4, 5, and 6, they're all interchangeable, definitely interchangeable. It could depend on my mood where I would put them.
Exactly, I understand that.
And then the bottom 4, they're all interchangeable for different reasons.
Yeah, I was putting them in order and I narrowed it down to my last 2 and I'm like, I can't I can't pick one because when I think of why I should write this one down, the other one reminds me of why that one's amazing.
Yeah, I feel like we've had this before, but it's usually just like 2.
Yeah.
But this year we had 3 very good contenders, and then a whole bunch more that were extremely close behind.
Yep.
Okay, well, for my number 10, I have Lightyear from Pixar.
Okay.
I liked this a lot more than other people did. Like, a lot of people kind of hated this movie for some reason. I didn't. I really liked it.
Crazy weirdos. Sorry, that was mean.
Yeah, I liked the characters. I liked Buzz. Like, I liked him better than the toy Buzz. It didn't feel like the same character, but it felt like just a different version of him, and I liked him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And like everybody hates the twist at the end, but like I don't have any attachment to the Buzz Lightyear mythos.
Yeah.
So I don't really care that it wasn't his father.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I liked this movie. I liked his friends. Like, of course, I love Taika Waititi anyways.
Yeah.
Keke Palmer, she's great. Like, it even like if a movie can actually get a tear out of me, then I say that it's a great movie. And this one got a tear out of me as he was like, he kept coming back and finding his friend getting older and older. And then, spoilers, she does not make it to the end of the film. So, like, if a movie can get a tear out of me, it's doing something right. And this one got a tear out of me.
Yeah, for sure. I watched this movie with my youngest brother because he really wanted to watch it. And we got popcorn and everything. We set it all up kind of theater-wise because it didn't come out theaters. Did it? Oh, yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did.
But I missed it. It was like very short where I lived.
I don't think it lasted very long where I was, but I got in to see it before it left.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, like a bunch of movies early in the year, they were like there and then gone. And I'm like, wait, no. But I missed it, so we watched it and we both started crying when that part happened. And so we were both like tears and we're like, because again, I cry easily. But
yeah, as we're talking about this, I feel like I should move it up my list because the ones that are coming later, I don't think I liked as much as Lightyear. But like I said, the last 4 especially, well, I mean, all of them, but they're very interchangeable. I like them for different reasons. So yeah.
Yep.
So what's your number 10?
My number 10 is Wendell and Wild.
Okay.
I really liked it. I can see like why people wouldn't like it's got that darkness to it. But I don't know. It had also like this cartooniness to it. It had very
Yeah.
like it reminded me a lot of Paranorman.
I still haven't seen Paranorman.
Okay.
I mean, it reminded me more of Coraline, but that's the same director. And I liked this better than
Yeah.
Coraline. But
I
also, I need
like
to watch
yeah.
Coraline again because when I watched it, I didn't know what I was going to be watching. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah. No, I can understand that. I'm not a fan of Coraline, but that's not really the movie's fault. It's because it has a spider in it and I have arachnophobia. So it's like I can get why people like it, but I'm never watching it again in my life. So like Paranorman's my Coraline. It's got a bit more it's more lighthearted and
Hmm.
so, but I really like Wendell and Wild. I thought Wendell and Wild themselves were quite cute.
I liked how they were very cartoony.
Yeah,
I mean, Key and Peele are just cartoons in and of
yeah,
themselves
they
almost.
were really
So they were
funny.
great for those characters, yes.
Yeah, I like it when they're like going to test the hair cream and they look at their little bug and he looks at them with like these big eyes and they're like, "What if he doesn't come back?" Like you, even considering smashing your bug friend, like you horrible little men. Yeah, I had fun with it. Like I said, like I can understand if why people don't like it, if they like again, I can do that with most movies, but I really enjoyed it. I don't have a whole lot to say other than that. All the characters like worked for me. So
Hmm.
like I wouldn't say that they were like really in-depth characters, but like it's like oh the intricacy of the story and all that, but like it had this like fun storybook vibe,
Hmm.
so like I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of storybook vibe, that this is number 9 is where I have My Father's Dragon.
Uh-huh.
And I did like this movie. It was not perfect, but I did, of course, I love the aesthetic because Cartoon Saloon, they're
Right.
just great. And it did differ a lot from the book, and that's not necessarily an awful thing against the movie because
No.
again, it's been so long since I've read the book that I couldn't tell you what was changed. I just knew it had been changed.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as good as other Cartoon Saloon films, but I still really enjoyed it, and
Mhm.
it's definitely a good movie, and I would rewatch it. And now looking at my list, I feel like maybe I should put Lightyear above that, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
the last bunch of movies are all interchangeable.
Mhm.
So what do you have at number 9?
At number 9 I have I was writing this one down. I'm like, oh man, Jonathan's gonna be mad at me. I have Marcel the Shell with shoes on.
No!
I know. I absolutely adored it though. It was so sweet and very cute. The only reason why it's down here is because it made me very sad. I
Maybe that's why it's so high on my list because it actually got emotion out of me.
Yeah, it made me very, very sad. Which is not a bad thing, but I prefer movies that make me happy. That's just kind of more of my style movies. So,
Hmm.
but I really enjoyed it. Marcel is adorable. I loved the humor and the very chill vibes.
Yeah.
My only complaint about the movie is not the movie complaint itself. It's that I had to spend $20 on it.
Uh,
And because they don't have a renting option or anything, which I'm not too mad. Like it's not that like I spent money on a movie that I absolutely hated or anything. But like I was a little like, oh come on. I was just like a whole $20 and like it was less the movie's fault and more I didn't really have that money to
mm,
be spending on a movie at random, so I kind of wish I could have rented it, but it's worth it. So I'm not upset about that, but like
hmm.
I was just like, please. But other than that, and that's the only complaint I have with the movie because and that's not really again the movie's fault.
Yeah.
The movie was awesome.
They didn't make it very easy to find, both in theaters and just in general. Because,
Yeah.
like, when I saw it, like, if you've listened to my podcast, we got in free because of it random encounter with Dean Fleischer Camp on Twitter, who gave us tickets.
Yeah.
But like that, the price wasn't going to matter because we were driving all the way to Nebraska to see it for, I don't remember how much the tickets were going to be, but they were going to be much more than they would be if it was in Harlan.
Yeah.
Because it was like a one theater for one day.
Hmm.
So it was not going to be a cheap outing, but Sarah and I love Marcel the Shell as the shorts from years ago.
Hmm.
So it was going to be worth it to us either way. But they did not make it
Yeah.
easy to find the movie, having it only in one nearby theater for only one day, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then after it came out, they didn't make it easy to find either way because the only, like, I bought the Blu-ray, but the only way I could do that was through the A24 website. And it was like
Mhm.
30 some dollars with like at least $5 shipping. So like this is one of the
Yeah.
most expensive single Blu-rays I own, not like a Blu-ray set, just one single Blu-ray. But
Wow.
I also kind of don't care because I loved the movie.
Yeah, I get that. Like that's the thing. Like I didn't care that I had to spend that. It's just like it was really hard to find.
Hmm.
Was a bit more what I cared about, but like obviously the movie's worth it.
Hmm.
It would have just been a bit more convenient, I
Yeah.
guess. In this day and age, Marcel, seriously. I'm old, as we have established. I kid, but
Okay, well, moving on to number eight. For number eight, I have The Sea Beast.
okay.
And this is one, like, I didn't really know what to expect going into this, but I really liked it. It was kind of
Mhm.
reminiscent of How to Train Your Dragon, except with kaijus instead of dragons. It was just a fun adventure movie. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect going
Yeah.
in, but I liked the characters, I liked the designs. I
Mhm.
would rewatch this movie. It was a fun surprise for
Yeah.
just a random Netflix movie. It was really good.
Yeah, I agree on that. I was like, I saw the trailer. I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks awesome. But I, again, didn't really know too much to expect. And then when I went into it, I'm like, oh, this was better than. And that water, oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, the animation was great.
Yeah.
I hope they make a sequel because I want more of this world.
Yeah. Or just like, I would love a sequel to get more of the world, but like if they make another movie in that like style, I will also take that. Also
Mm.
release it on DVD, please.
Yes.
Okay. So my number eight is Lightyear.
Okay.
I really like Lightyear.
Hmm.
There's not a lot of sci-fi movies coming out right now,
Hmm.
specifically animated sci-fi movies. Like that's kind of a genre that's never really touched.
Yeah.
And so I was like super excited. I'm like, oh, this looks awesome. I like Buzz Lightyear. I like Chris Evans. I like socks. I
Yes.
like a ragtag team
And one is
getting
an old
together.
lady.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, old ladies. I love old ladies and
Oh,
stuff.
she's so funny. I can't touch a weapon. I'm on parole. Uh, it's just so good. I love the pen joke. I love the sandwich joke. Just like it was so like bizarre on some
Yeah.
stance, and it just worked.
Yeah.
Like it felt experimental, and
Yeah.
then and I'm gonna just say this, but not every Pixar movie has to be like a deep interspectral look.
Yes.
I love those movies. I love Soul. I love Inside Out. I love. I have come. I remember I like didn't love Soul so much when I first watched it, but I've come around to it. I've
Hmm.
come around to Soul, and I love all those movies. But like, you can sometimes just have like a fun movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes, guys, can we
Yeah.
just have fun? Not everything has to make me like go, oh wow, that's deep, or oh, I have to reevaluate my life. You know, so like sometimes you go and watch a movie because you want to have fun, and
Hmm.
Lightyear has some good messages. It's not as cartoony fun as like Hotel Transylvania,
Yeah.
where yeah, it has a good message, like be nice to each other and being yourself, your true self is good, and accepting others, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's all good messages.
Hmm.
But like I will say that I think Lightyear goes a bit deeper than that, and it has a heavier message that I think adults can also take from.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really touching. And I like that Buzz wasn't like a perfect protagonist man, like he had to
Yeah,
learn a lesson.
yeah.
Yeah, and like it was fun. The characters were all fun. The world design was amazing. And Socks, guys. Socks was great.
Yes, he was.
Just his deadpan,
Mm-hmm.
positive voice.
Yes.
Perfect. Like, why doesn't Alexa sound like that? I petition.
Disney should have capitalized on that and made like an Alexa thing that looks like socks.
Yeah. I don't have an Alexa, but I would heavily consider getting one if it looked like socks.
Okay, well, number 7 is where I have Belle.
Okay.
I think I agree with everything you said, but I just really loved it. I've watched it
Uh-huh.
twice. I actually had to rewatch it recently so I could solidify where it should be in my ranking, and it moved up with my second watch.
Okay.
Yeah, the music is amazing. The visuals are
Oh yeah.
amazing. I really liked it. Like I said, I have a problem with some things at the end. A lot of stuff, well, I don't want to get too much into it, but the fact that that all these adults let this teenager go off on herself to confront a child abuser seems
Yeah,
questionable.
that was a little like, oh, okay. I mean, like, you're not gonna buy a ticket to get on the train? No? Okay.
Yeah, that was my biggest beef with the movie. But other than that, I did really like it.
Yeah, like I guess in a storytelling perspective, like I guess like just wanted her to be there alone so you can really solidify the character development.
Yeah, but I feel like they could have still done that, but just have the three ladies go with her and then like they split up and try and search and then she finds
Yeah.
them when she's by herself.
Yeah.
So there's ways they could have done it to make it better than they did.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But I still really loved it, and it's very high on my list.
I guess another thing, a slight like thing was like everyone was trying to find out the beast's true identity and they were basically like trying to dox him, basically.
Hmm.
And then like I guess in a way like for the story it worked, but like I guess at the end you could kind of take away that doxing's good because like in the end they did like kind of like track him down and like reveal his identity and you're like okay, I guess like it wasn't a huge reveal thing like they were trying to like use it like, for bad and like to an extent yes it was a good thing but like also you could walk I'm just saying you could walk away with it
Mm,
but yeah.
I guess I never took that message from it, but I guess I can see how you could
You could.
take
I'm
that
not
from it.
saying that's what they were saying. I feel
Hmm.
like that's a little oversimplifying the whole situation.
Hmm.
Doxing's not good though.
Yes.
Bad. And I don't think they condone it
No, I
as
don't think so.
the bad people were the people who were trying to do it.
Yeah.
And her friend, who I wasn't entirely a big I feel like she needed to get her priorities straight. It's just
I
like,
kind of liked how manic her friend was.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And then at the end, she's just like, "You can't reveal yourself. Think of all you built." And you're like, lady, read the room, okay? Oh no, your fame. We'll just leave the child then. That's fine."
So what's your number 7?
Strange World.
Okay.
I really liked Strange World. It had it kind of like, again, it's not really a genre you get much in
Yeah.
animation right now. And I loved like the old, like at the beginning, like the little like advertisement jingle thing about the family was really fun.
Yeah, yeah,
I kind of almost wished I was like, oh man, why wasn't the whole thing like that?
yeah. I
Um,
think it would have been better if it was kind of like an
yeah,
old-timey newsreel.
yeah, I would have loved that. But yeah, I can understand some criticism people have. I thought the characters were fun. I really enjoyed them, but like I can see why some people wouldn't like them. I disagree with some of the criticism people say that they don't have a character. I think they have characters, whether or not you enjoy the character or
Yeah,
not. But
yeah.
they do have like characters. They're not like no face, no name
Hmm.
people. And like I can understand if you don't like them, like if you just don't get them or you don't relate or you just find them annoying, that's completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed the world. I liked the visual design. I liked how the character designs were kind of classic Disney, but they had like a bit change to them, so they weren't too like they didn't quite have that Disney look to them. They looked like Disney
Yeah.
look, but with a little bit of difference. Like it almost felt like a studio was going, they approached Disney with a movie and Disney said, okay, we'll make your movie. And so, like, at parts, I almost felt like, oh, yeah, this is a Disney movie. It didn't feel quite like one.
It almost felt more Pixar than Disney.
Yeah. Like, it didn't quite have that Disney feel. It felt more like Pixar or just like a different studio, and like Disney slapped their name on it almost. And since it was the resources they had, that's why it has like the Disney look. But like, I don't know. Like I had to constantly remind myself, oh yeah, this is a Disney movie.
Yeah, it really doesn't feel very Disney.
No. And that's a good thing. I enjoyed that about it, that it didn't like follow the same beats.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were some times where I'd be like, oh, if this was a Disney movie, this is what's gonna happen, and then it like didn't happen that
Mm-hmm.
way. So I was like, well, that's a refreshing enjoyment. I'm in the minority. I feel like a lot of people didn't enjoy the movie for varying different reasons. Some
Mm-hmm.
some legit, some very bad. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I related probably a little too much to the father, especially when like the eyeballs staring at him and he's just like, and like the son's just like, do you know what this means? He's like, that it's judging me. I thought that was funny. The dog was cute. The character designs were fun. I think they all like fulfilled the purpose that they were for
Yeah.
and all that. So I don't have much else to say unless I'll like dive into like the complexity of the character design and how much I love how much like the generational family, like how they made the characters look like each other without it like being the same face. Cough.
Mm.
Elsa Anna cough. I'm sorry. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, probably in like 5 years, I'll eventually get to that on the Disney podcast, and maybe you can do that one with me, and then you can dive more into what you really like.
Yay.
Because I think there is a lot in there that we could discuss. So
Yeah.
eventually, we should definitely have a broader conversation. Because like I
Yes.
didn't dislike the movie, it just wasn't as good as I hoped that it would be for me
Uh-huh.
personally.
Yeah.
Okay, number six. And this is where we get into like the next three, all very easily interchangeable. So for number six, I have The Bad Guys. This was a very fun movie. I've watched it more than once. I watched
Oh,
it in the theater.
yeah. The Bad
It
Guys is my next one too. So go
Number
to
six?
town on what,
Okay, yeah,
yeah. So
okay.
you go to town on what you're gonna say.
Yeah, no, I love these characters. I mean, Aquafina.
Uh,
I love Aquafina so much. I loved her as the spider, but all of the characters were
uh-huh.
so great. I loved the scene with the shark pretending to have a baby.
Mr. Shark is the greatest.
And I know at this point it's kind of being done to death, and I don't love the trope as much as I have in the past. But like villain redemption stories are sometimes some of my favorite stories, and I
Hmm.
really liked that they did that with this, but they put their own twist on it. And they
Yeah,
also had kind of the opposite happen in the movie too. And
right?
there was so many like twists and turns, and I just really loved everything in this movie. It was so fun.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Because I remember like I missed it in theaters and I was complaining that to you about this movie, and you're like, oh, well, I would suggest just go and buy it. Don't watch any trailers or anything. And I'm
Oh
like, oh,
yeah, because we were talking about it when we recorded last year's
yeah.
podcast.
And you're like, yeah, just go watch it. You would love it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna trust him on this. I just went, picked up the Blu-ray, popped it in my player, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I absolutely adore this movie. It's like it's so good, and I love the art design, this animation. It's just all like just such a visual treat.
Yeah.
And like the characters, so good.
They do the merging of the 2D and 3D elements so well because it is a
Hmm.
3D film, but I love how they've got 2D stuff in there, but
Yeah.
subtly, not as in your face as like Spider-Verse, which that's not a
Yeah.
shade on Spider-Verse. I love how in your face it
Oh
is.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love that it's subtle in this one, like the eyes.
Uh-huh.
I love that the eyes are 2D. It works so well for this.
Yeah. Also, I love how the inspiration from the Japanese anime Lupin the Third, you if you've seen any of that, you can like
I've
just
seen
pin
bits of that. I've never seen a full Lupin movie.
yeah, like you can pinpoint like the whole zip line on the belt and then like it pulls the pants off. That's such a Lupin thing. Um, just like some like of the posing, he's all about that like crazy getaway driving kind of thing. He has this investigator who's always trying to catch him and he like just shouts their name. Much like the police chief in this movie, who I absolutely loved. She was so funny.
Yes, I loved her.
Just all the characters are so much fun, and it's so much fun that like they took two kind of tired tropes of like villain redemption and then the twist villain at the end,
Yeah, yeah.
and yet they made it their own thing so well that like it
Yes,
all worked.
yes. And it was one of those things where like the twist villain I saw coming a mile away. And when I
Yeah.
watched it with my cousin, like not like 5 minutes after he was revealed, we're like, he's the bad guy, isn't he? But I
Yeah.
didn't care because it was
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah. He was so funny. Like him just trying to be calm. He's just like, no, you're supposed to share the pop. And he's like, no. It was just, yeah, that was so much fun.
Yeah, I really hope there's going to be a sequel. I want more of these characters.
Yes. So good.
Okay, number 5, Bob's Burgers movie. I didn't know if you would have even seen this. I know we talked about doing an episode on it, which we never got
Yeah.
around to, but
I meant to get to it, but like, unfortunately, I had like other movies I had to get to.
yeah,
And
no,
then I
that's
was like,
fine.
I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. And then I didn't get to it.
Yeah. And I don't know how
Yeah.
you would feel about it not having watched the show, but
Mhm.
as a fan of the show, I loved it. And I feel like you don't need to be a fan of the show to watch this one because
Yeah.
Bob's Burgers has so little continuity anyway.
Hmm.
Like I think I've said this to other people, but they've had at this point they had at least 10 Christmases and all the kids are the same age. So there's
Yeah.
it's not really anything that you need to worry about going into
Yeah.
figuring out who these characters are. The movie does a pretty good job of it.
Yeah.
It's just fun. I love it. It's a great adaptation of the show, a great new adventure, it's a great murder mystery musical.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just fun. I loved it. As a fan of the show, I thought it was a great movie version because sometimes movies based on shows can be hit or miss, and I thought
Yeah.
this one was a hit. I loved it.
Yeah. I just have to get out my bias hangover that I can't look at their faces. I don't know. I don't like the art direction, which is fine. Like I can understand why people like it, but I'm just like, ew.
It's one of those things where I don't think I cared much for their faces when I first started,
Hmm.
but over time it's kind of like I
You
got
got
used to
used
it and
to
then
it,
it
yeah.
grew on me. The same thing happened to me with Adventure Time. Like I avoided Adventure Time for ages because I did not like the art style, and now I love
Hmm.
it. So
Yeah. Nah, I understand. I don't know. The Bob Burger people look like if Simpson looked at you face forward. And I'm just like, I didn't know if I wanted to ever see that. I'll probably get around to it just because I am curious because you like it and like,
it would be interesting to do a podcast on it based on you not having seen any episodes and me being a longtime fan.
yeah,
So maybe we should at some point, but we've got so many other things we
yeah,
need to do first. So who knows if we'll actually get to it, but I,
yeah,
I think it'd be a fun one.
yeah. If anything, I'll try to watch it and then just at least give you my thoughts on it.
Okay.
I'll just be like, they still look like Simpsons face forward. No notes. That's like, and I'll never talk to you again. That's just the end of our relationship.
Yeah, no, I'm not somebody who would care that much about someone not liking something I
No,
like.
I know. You could say I hate the bad guys, and I'd be like, what's wrong with you? But I guess that's fair.
Well, thankfully, we don't have to do that because we
Yeah.
liked it about the same, apparently, because we both had it at number 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Sea Beast.
Okay.
I love Sea Beast so much. I kind of like I watched the trailer and I'm like, this looks amazing. And then I don't want to say forgot about it, but like it kind of didn't cross my radar for a
Yeah, I think
while.
the same thing happened to me because it's one of those things where it's a Netflix movie. So I saw a
Yeah.
trailer at one point and then I forgot about it until we were looking for something to watch. And I was like, oh yeah, we should watch that.
Yeah. So that's like what I was like, oh, this looked fun. Let's watch that. And oh boy, it like blew me out of the water. But it's just like I expected to be good, but it still like was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I loved the entire cast of characters. I loved all the creatures, like the Ugg monsters with their gigantic mouths, and they look like walruses. I don't know. They were so fun. Like the creature design, the water was amazing. I love animated water.
Hmm.
I mean, I love real water too. I don't like I love looking at water. I'm not a big fan of like getting into water though, which is weird. Like I'll go to the beach and I'll be like, I'm not gonna go swimming. I just want to look at it. But yeah, the water in Sea Beast was like amazing, and the music was awesome. Like the story was fun. I feel like if I had one minor like note is that the ending was a little abrupt.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, I felt like, I guess it's over. I wanted more, but like, I thought it worked. Like, it's not like a complaint or anything. I was just like, oh, it's over. Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know it was over. I wasn't prepared.
And it could be that they're leaving it open for more
It could
in the future.
exactly. I hope so because I really, really loved it. It's funny because when I was watching all the movies that were nominated for an Oscar, I was like, oh, that one deserves an Oscar. Oh no, but that one also deserves an Oscar. Like, I feel like they
Yeah.
all should have gotten an award.
Yeah.
It's like all of them were amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Okay. Number 4, Turning Red.
Same.
Okay. I wondered. I'm kind of trying to figure out which ones are going to line up for us with the
Right?
last bunch here.
I'm curious because I feel like I might have a movie up high that I don't think you've watched. So I'm curious what your movie's going to be in that place.
Okay, we'll see. But yeah, Turning Red. I loved it. I know a lot of people had problems with it. I loved
Yeah.
it. I didn't care. It resonated with me on probably levels that it wouldn't resonate with anyone else because not that I'm speaking of my own mother, but the mother character reminded me of someone who was exactly like that in my past, who I am very glad to be free of. And I just connected with May so
Yeah.
much from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it spoke to me on a level that I don't think a lot of people are going to get, which is why it was so high up for me.
Hmm.
And I understand why people may not enjoy it as much, but I loved it. I thought it was
Yeah.
great. And even beyond that, I liked a lot of the other stuff. I love the kaiju battle at the end. I was like, that is so random. I love it.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Was not expecting that, but it was great.
And then they like get the boy band to help sing, and the boy band member starts
Yes.
crying, and you're just like, what the heck is going on? I absolutely adore it.
Yes, yes, so great. And James Hong again. James
Yeah, I
Hong
know.
is
It's like, oh,
everywhere.
there is a
I love him.
yeah, he's so funny.
But yeah, loved it.
Yeah,
Highly recommend this one.
yeah. I don't know. I could get into the craziness of why people don't like it, but like I'm not going to because there's enough negative stuff about this movie. And
Hmm.
honestly, just like I don't know, like people are saying it was bad, people are saying it was meh, people are telling all these different reasons, and I was just like, I was just gonna watch it and make my own judgment. And yeah, there was a lot of relatable parts. I didn't relate to like everything, obviously. Like
Hmm.
I never like just personal speaking, I didn't ever like sketch boys in my sketchbook like with abs and mermaid tail. But you know what? I've sketched, but like I sure as heck have sketched weird stuff that like you're like, oh no, why did I ever draw that? So like I can get it, like, you know, and I feel like there might have been a bit of like people were taking a single thing and just turning into that and saying, well, I never did that, so I can't relate to that. And it's like, but like
You don't need to relate to everything.
yeah, and not only that, but like it doesn't have to be the exact set of circumstances for you to relate to something. Like, why is this movie different than like Star Wars? I've never like, you know, done anything that to do with Star Wars, but doesn't mean I don't relate to any of the characters.
Yeah, no, it's so many of the criticisms against it I thought were kind of ridiculous, and I loved it. I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had the same number 4.
Mm-hmm.
So number 3, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Okay, that's not what mine is.
Okay. Yeah, this movie was better than it had any right to be.
Yeah.
I know I have seen the first Puss in Boots movie. I cannot for the life of you tell you anything that happened in it. I have completely forgotten it, and I feel like it was very boring, and I don't care about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was amazing in every way.
Yes.
Like
100%.
I would never have believed that this would I was not planning on seeing this movie at all. Like even though it's a mainline DreamWorks film, I had no intention of seeing this movie because meh. But then the reviews started happening, and then Rachel was gushing about it. I was like, okay, well, if Rachel likes this movie, then maybe there's something to it. So I went, and I am extremely glad I did because this is the best Shrek movie of all time.
I mean, yeah, that's not a high bar to clear.
I suppose not, but it's shocking how good this movie is.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like got like excited for it when I was like watching the trailers, but I'm like, but it's a Shrek movie.
Yeah.
So how good could it actually be? But I decided to take a chance on it, and oh man, I was so glad I did because it's so good.
I'm guessing you have it a little higher than I do.
I do have it a little bit higher, yes.
Okay, well, why don't you tell us your number 3, and then we can go back to Puss in Boots when we get to it for you.
Yeah. So my number 3 is Del Toro's Pinocchio.
Okay, well, that's my number 2, so let's just talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, this was really hard, but like my top 3 was so hard.
Yeah, so my top 3 very interchangeable. I do have a clear winner, but they were all could be interchangeable depending on my mood.
Wait, what's your clear winner? No, I'm sorry.
I think you've already figured it out.
That's okay. Mine ended up being like the most me answer as well. I'm just
I kind of wondered.
I was like, is it the best movie? No. But was it my favorite movie? Yes.
I feel like that has happened before, so I kind of wondered.
Yeah. But yeah, Del Toro's Pinocchio is perfect in every way.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I was going to like it, but I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, and I'm a advocate for the ending. I really enjoyed the ending. I know there's
I did too, which is shocking compared seeing as how much I hated the Disney ending, which was similar but also not the same at all.
Yeah, but the difference between it is that in the Disney Pinocchio, his goal is to become a real boy.
Yeah.
In the Del Toro one, his goal is not to become a real boy. His goal is to become someone his father will love.
Yes.
And, you know, he wants to be accepted. And then in the end, he is accepted for who he is. And just everything's great. This is the best Jiminy Cricket. But that might be biasism towards Ian McGregor. I love him.
Yeah. Sebastian J. Cricket.
Yes, Sebastian J. Cricket. I loved his whole attitude. Like, he was such a stuck-up, like, he's writing his own memoirs.
Yes. So
It's like
great.
it's the greatest book that will ever be, and you're like, okay. And then he's just like, I don't have time to take care of a wooden boy. I'm writing my memoirs. And then the other reason why he does it is because she said he can get him a publishing deal.
Yes. But then he's not nearly as narcissistic
Yeah.
and stuck up as he seems because he
Oh
gives
yeah.
that up in order to save Pinocchio. So
Yeah.
he's so great.
I also enjoyed that, like, when that part's happening, she's like, okay, you have your wish. What are you going to wish for? Like, he's not like, oh, I don't know. Should I wish for this? Or there's no conflict. He's like, well, yes, of course, I'm going to wish for Pinocchio to come to life.
Yes. Yes.
There was no question in his mind anymore of
Hmm.
what he was going to do.
Yeah.
And then Pinocchio was like the cutest thing.
Yes.
He's just like, I don't want to sit by the fire. I want hot chocolate.
We could talk about this movie for hours, and we have.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But there's always more to talk about it, I feel like. But yes,
Yes, it's so good. It's so
it
good.
is. And it's so beautiful.
Yeah. In any other year, this would have been my absolute favorite movie of the year.
And it has a monkey. Best Pinocchio version.
Yes.
Where's the monkeys in every other version? Yeah, I didn't think so. No, I'm kidding. Though I do love Spazferatu. And he may be my favorite character. And
Yeah.
it's not because he's a monkey. But it might be slightly because he's a monkey.
It probably helps, but yeah. Spazzatura is just such a great character. So
Right?
good. And it's Kate Blanchett doing monkey noises.
Yeah, come on, guys. This was like the stars aligned, okay?
Yes. So yeah, that was your 3. That was my 2. What is your 2?
My number 2, and this was so hard, but it is Puss in Boots and the Last Wish.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, I love this movie like to death. Oh gosh, let me see. I went to the theater. Saw it in theaters 4 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like not really on purpose. It was just kind of more like I went with this person, and then I went with this person, and then I have this friend, and he hates Shrek. Okay, just like Shrek is the worst thing in the world, and I'm just like, okay, I'm kidnapping you, and we're gonna go watch this Puss in Boots movie. And he hadn't seen any trailer or anything, and he absolutely loved it. He's just like, why didn't you tell me this movie was so unhinged? I absolutely adore it. I'm just like, yes, it's amazing. And then like the next week, he's like, okay, I'm going to convince a group of more of our friends to go watch it. And I can't stop thinking about it like since we watched it. So I have to go watch it again. So we ended up going to see it again. So yeah, I've seen this movie a ton. I bought the Blu-ray when it came out. So good. Like the amount of like detail. Like I could talk on and on. I've literally talked like for weeks. It was like the only thing I talked about. I appreciate my family. I appreciate my friends. Appreciate my coworkers, I guess, because all I talked about was Puss in Boots. I was just like, did you know that in the scene and that thing, and like the bell rings 8 times, and on the 8th time it squishes Puss in Boots, and because it's it rings 7 times because it's his 7th life that he loses, or yada yada yada. And like this thing over here is shaped like a wolf because it's symbolizing death, and over here it's like I'm just like pointing out all these things because there's so much like in-depth stuff that you can just like find. You can watch videos that like point out even new things. They point out things themselves. I watched like the cast interview. Oh my gosh, it's just so good. The cast is amazing. Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots, just beautiful. Mm-hmm. The fact that the parody of Zorro is voiced by Zorro himself, it's just genius.
Yeah, I don't think I ever thought of it that way, but yes, it is.
And yeah, it's really sweet. It's got a lot of depth to it. The visuals are amazing. The art style is amazing. Again, the stars aligned. I don't know, like what was one of your favorite parts about that movie?
Well, I don't know why, but like I love Jack Horner.
Oh yes. Yes.
And also the Jiminy Cricket character.
Yes, that was so funny. like, go eat the plants. He's like, I don't do that. He's like, well, what do you do? Well, I judge you. And he's like, wow, I really did overpack.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate to sound like all the people online, but I loved that there was just an unambiguously awful character.
Right?
Like
No, no.
we don't seem to get too many of those these days, which is fine because it was
Uh-huh.
overdone for a while, but now it's like underdone. You hardly ever get it anymore.
Yeah.
So it just seemed refreshing to have just an absolutely awful villain.
Yes.
It was so great, so hilarious, and also John Mulaney.
Yeah.
I don't
John
like
Mulaney's
right
so
now.
funny.
John Mulaney is like he's Spider Ham to me,
Yeah.
but it's so great to have him as this awful, ogreish, nasty, awful person.
Yes. And he's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny because in the interviews, when the directors talk about him, they say, we hated working with him because he gave us way too much material and we had to cut it out. Like, because basically they just like let him, they're like, okay, this is the thing. And they just kind of let him go on and on because that's kind of
Hmm.
like the directors did such a good job with their voice cast because they like knew the strengths of their voice cast.
Hmm.
And so like they just kind of let him do his thing. And I think that's really why Jack Horner shines so well because
Yeah.
like he would just kind of spout out a bunch of jokes. Like for one joke, he would just come up with like different ways of delivering it, different deliveries, different jokes entirely. And then they just kind of, pick the best that they liked that he came up with. And it's
Hmm.
just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Horner, man. I love him so much.
Yeah. There was a lot I loved about this movie, but he's probably one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, for sure.
But also, Perito is great.
Oh, yes.
And I really liked Florence Pugh as Goldilocks.
Yes, for real. Uh the Bears and Goldilocks are like they're so good.
Yeah.
Such a good movie.
Yeah. It is.
And the score is amazing. And it has
Mm.
such like music like a bunch of characters have their own musical cues and like they'll play when the or like an instrument tied to them. So like
Hmm.
there's one part when they're fighting over the map and Puss gets a hold of the map and this like guitar starts playing because he's got like an acoustic guitar sound to his music. But then Kitty steals it from him and it just like the guitar gets interrupted by the electric guitar because it's like he thinks he's so cool, but then she's like, ah ha ha, I've got the map actually, and he's like, and it's like, dear, 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 and it's like, just it helps heighten the emotions of the scene.
Hmm.
It's so masterfully crafted. It's just like, oh,
I love stuff like that. I love it when
yeah,
they put stuff like that into the score.
yeah. Also, Jack Horner has like one of the best like little parts of the song where he's first introduced and his like Wanted poster shows up and this like little tiny section of his theme plays, and that's like the only time it plays, but that's like the greatest piece of music ever. I love it so much. It's such a good movie. I love it. But it didn't make top because I'm biased, I guess. I'm sorry, Puss in Boots.
Well, I'll do my number one and then we'll see
All
what your
right.
number one is. I'm sure by now you've already guessed. My number one is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Hey. Hey, I mean, fair.
I loved it.
Oh, it's so good.
It was so good. Like, a movie is doing good to get like one tear out of me, but
Mm-hmm.
this movie, Sarah asked if I wanted a Kleenex.
Oh, uh,
And I'm sure you know the part that I'm talking about. It's probably the reason that you don't like it as much as I do. But like, it was so good, and even though it was so sad, it was so well done.
mm-hmm.
I loved it so much. I
Oh
loved
yeah, for sure.
Marcel. His grandma was such a good character. Like I already love old lady characters,
Yeah,
not just the crazy radical old ladies who are hilarious, but like
yeah.
the actual deep, loving, beautiful
Mm-hmm.
grandmotherly characters. And she's just such a perfect grandma. And
Yeah,
Marcel is such a great character. Jenny Slate is amazing. I love her voice, but she's so
yeah.
perfect as Marcel. I think Marcel was the
Yep.
first Jenny Slate character I ever saw, and Marcel is the reason that I love Jenny Slate so much. I love everything that she's in. Every time I hear Jenny Slate's in something, I'm like, I gotta see it. And I think that
Yeah.
started with Marcel because I didn't know who she was before the Marcel shorts back in 2010 or whenever that was. They're just these random things that we found online and we loved them. And then somehow they became one of the best movies of this year, of the past few years, I feel like is it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah,
It's such a like I don't say this about many movies, but I feel like Marcel the Shell is just a beautiful film.
it is. I agree.
And yes, it's sad, and I can see why that would be a negative for some people, but it's also like it has a happy ending. Like
Oh
if it
yeah.
had ended at the sad part, I don't know
Hmm.
that I would like it as much as I do, but the fact that it kept going on and it was
Yeah.
Marcel having to move on with his life
Yeah.
and make a better life for himself and
Hmm.
find his family, it's so good. I
It
love it so
is.
much.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing film. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved everything about it. I don't think I have any notes about, well, this could have been better. Like most movies, even if I love them, I
Yeah.
probably could find a few things that, like, oh, you could have done that better. I can't think of a single thing right off the top of my head
No.
that I want changed about Marcel the Shell with Shoes on.
No. I feel like if you changed anything, it would just kind of make it worse almost. Like
Probably,
it would
yeah,
probably wouldn't actually fix anything.
yeah. I just
Or it would
it,
just make it a completely different type of movie.
yeah, it's so good.
It
It's
is.
hard to like explain to someone what this movie is.
Yeah, right?
It's just one of those things where it's like, you got to see it. Trust me, just watch this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I absolutely love it too. The only reason why it's low down, and it's not a negative in any sense because they do it so well, but yeah, it's a little sad. I prefer happier movies, but
Hmm.
I loved it. Like,
Hmm. And I'm usually the same way. And I
mhm,
if a movie gets to be too sad, it'll definitely shoot it down my list. But I think the
yeah.
fact that the sadness happened in the middle and a lot of the movie was learning how to move past that,
Yeah.
I think that's why it became so much more than just the sadness.
Yeah, for sure.
If it had ended badly, it would not be a favorite, no matter how beautiful it was.
Hmm.
Like, well, not that it would have been in my top 10 at all, but like the fact
Uh-huh.
that it did not have a good ending is what shot it to the bottom. But
Yeah.
if it had the way it ended and then having to move past that and then became something more triumphant toward the end, that would have shot it up towards the top.
Yeah.
So where the sadness falls in the movie does play a big part. And
Hmm.
it was with Marcel, it was in the perfect place and
Yeah.
then learning to move on, I guess.
Yeah.
It was just masterfully done.
No, yeah, I agree. Wholeheartedly.
Okay, well, that was my absolute best movie of the entire year. So what is yours?
Okay, so all these movies, honestly, most of them have been great, which was funny because, like, usually I have movies like, oh gosh, it's awful, like I never want to look upon it again. But I feel like the only movie that I really had that, like, no, I wouldn't want to watch Pinocchio, A True Story again. Like,
Hmm. Or the
I feel
Disney Pinocchio.
Yeah, I feel like those are like kind of the worst. Like even Disenchanted, I could watch it again. I wouldn't really want to, but I could watch it again.
Yeah,
So like I can't believe how many good movies came out this year.
yeah. There
Well,
were
not
so
this year,
many.
but last year. Yeah. I was just like, how do I choose? But my top movie, it's very biased. It's the Rise of the Ninja Turtle movie.
I didn't even watch that one, so yeah.
Yeah. I would have been surprised if you had, no offense. And honestly, like, unless you had seen the show, I wouldn't recommend this because it's a continuation of the show.
Mm,
But oh my gosh, it's so amazing. I love Rise of the Ninja Turtles. It's one of the greatest things ever created by a man. By man. It's just, oh my gosh, it's one of the greatest things ever.
I've never seen any Ninja Turtles anything really, but
It
if
doesn't
I
matter.
were to
Watch
watch
this.
any, that show
Watch
is the one
this.
that I would want to
Yes.
watch because, well, mainly because of you, but I've heard from other people that it is a good show. But I
Ignore
know
the
you are
Ninja
partial
Turtles.
to this one
Yeah.
specifically.
Ignore all other Ninja Turtles. As a Ninja Turtle fan, like I love Ninja Turtles, but I will admit that there's some, you know, clunky, not great, and like it won't land for people, but oh my gosh, Rise is so good. If you like Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, you'll love
Hmm.
Rise. It's very similar. Probably a bit more unhinged.
I
Um,
do like unhinged things.
Unhinged is amazing. I love that these characters actually feel like siblings. I feel like that's a problem I have with some Ninja Turtles. They feel more like a group, but not really have that sibling focus. Like, it's like, yeah, they could be siblings, but they don't have that like real deep connection of how, at least for me and my siblings, how like we would interact. Like, we all jump on each other and like fight sometimes, but like we're there for each other, that kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
so we call each other's names. We know, like, we make fun of people for their interests, but also we're supportive of it. Like, none of us really mean any of it. And, like, you can tell that, but, like, with the turtles in this, it's so good. Like, and then, like, everyone has such good chemistry together. The best rendition of, like, every single Ninja Turtle character ever. April is amazing. Splinter is amazing. Yes, Splinter's amazing. I know he's like the dad, and he's like in this one, he's not like a cool ninja master. He's like a dude. He sits on his couch all day and watches scorpions chase people on treadmills. Okay, but like it's great. It's so good. He actually gets character development, which Splinter never gets character development. There's crazy villains. John Cena is a big goat man. Like, yes, this movie is amazing. There's this spider lady, and she like makes up these words all the time, just like at random because for descripting things. And then John Cena gets mad at her, and she's like, "You really should learn how to use the dimbly door." And he's like, "And you must learn how to use real words." It's just I don't know, just like it's so witty and unhinged and but yeah, the movie's amazing. It kind of like wraps up the whole story because Nickelodeon apparently hated the show. I don't know. They never promoted it really, and then they ended up kind of cutting it short. But they had a deal for a Netflix movie, so they got to wrap it up in that. And it's such a good movie. It really like accumulates the whole story. The characters kind of like reach not really an end. Like, technically, yes, they could still make more. So it's not like the end, but the characters just all like have such good development and stuff. And the visuals are amazing. Like, this is some of the best animation ever done. And like the fact that it's not only like a Netflix show, but it's also a Netflix show, like a movie based off of a television show. Like, just the fact
Hmm.
that the animation's that good, it's shocking, like how good it is. Like, it's so weird because like it's a kid's show, but like the amount of body horror in this movie is weird. Like, basically the creator said, yeah, we wanted these like aliens and they like take over your body and they kind of change them up. And they're like, so basically what we did is we just kept pushing it and we're like, well, we'll just stop once they tell us no. And they were never told no. So they got to go like complete like there's this one guy and like his head's like crooked and kind of hanging off, and you're like, what the heck? This is a kid's show. What's going on?
That makes me think of the finale of Gravity Falls with Weird Mageddon. Did you watch
Yes.
Gravity Falls?
Yes.
The thing that happens to Pacifica's dad, that was
Yeah.
like one of the most horrifying things in a cartoon I've ever seen.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, it's got some Gravity Falls to it too. That kind of like humor. That's kind of style humor.
Well, that's a big plus for me because Gravity Falls is one of my absolute all-time favorite series of all time.
Yeah. Like, just that kind of like witty comeback strangeness. It's hard to describe. Like, it's this overall vibe, if you get what I'm saying.
I think so.
Yeah, but the movie's amazing. The visuals, the characters. You like Ben Schwartz? He's in here. I can sell you on Ben Schwartz again. He plays Leonardo because I guess it's his goal to play like every blue cartoon character.
You don't need to sell me on Ben Schwartz. I've loved him since Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Playing Jenny Slate's brother. Them as a comedic duo are amazing. I love
Yes.
them. Saperstein twins. They're so funny.
Yeah.
I need a movie with just them.
Do it. Come on, people. We need it. But yeah, so that's my biased movie pick. I was like, am I really putting Ninja Turtles on the top? Yes, I am. And I think the reason why is because I was getting to the end and I'm just like, which movie do I put on top? And then I'm just like, well, which one was the one that had me not just crying at the end? And it's not even a sad ending. Okay. There's no sad ending. This is a happy, joyous ending for this movie. I was in tears. I was just because of how happy this movie made me. And it wasn't just in tears, like I was literally like sobbing because I was just so happy. I don't know why. That might be kind of like ridiculous to some people. I don't know. It's just a Ninja Turtle movie, but it was just, I don't know. It hit me right, I guess. And is it okay that I cried more about a Ninja Turtle movie than I did over Marcel the Shell Shoes on? Probably not. I don't know. Like my sister was literally like, "Are you okay? Like, why are you crying so much?" And I'm like, "It's so like I think really what happened was there are a few sad parts and then like there's a few happy parts. And so like I didn't cry during those parts, but then like at the end of the movie it all hit me. And so all the emotions just hit me all at the same time. So I was just like crying and I was just like, I'm so happy and I'm so sad at the same time. This is weird. Yeah,
At least you're honest with your
yeah,
feelings.
I guess so. I don't know. I feel like my default reaction is either laugh or cry. Sometimes it's both at the same
So why
time.
not combine them?
Exactly. But yeah, Ninja Turtle movie is my top movie. Probably not what's going to happen this week, this next year, even though a Ninja Turtle movie is coming out, but that's because it has to go up against Spider-Verse. And
Mm.
I am really excited for the new Ninja Turtle movie because the art style is amazing. So, a quick question. Looking at the roster of like the animated movies that are coming out next year, what's one that you're extremely excited for? And I'm just gonna say besides Spider-Verse because I feel like that one's like a no-brainer.
Okay, the one that jumps out to me immediately is Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget because I love Chicken
Yeah.
Run.
Yes. I'm
So
curious about that one.
probably that one besides Spider-Verse.
Uh-huh.
I am interested in Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken just because that looks different and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'll see the Pixar and Disney movie, even though nothing about them has grabbed me so far. Elemental and Wish.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be good.
Like Elemental, I'm more curious in than Wish. But that could be because like I saw Wade and I loved him. So
Mm.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know what he did. I think it's just like I liked his like round character design.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. It just didn't really jump out at me as
Mhm.
like, oh, this is gonna be amazing.
Yeah. The problem with it also is that it's coming out like in June, and I'm just like, I already have like a bunch of other movies I want to watch in June. Like, I'm going to see Spider-Verse, obviously, and then like I want to watch the new Transformers movie. So, like, I only have so much money, Pixar.
But yeah, those are the ones that jump out at me first. I don't know that my list is complete yet. I need to go and see if I've got everything on here. But Spider-Verse, of course, is my top must-see movie of the year.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I love Aardman, so Chicken Run
Yeah.
2. Gotta see that.
Yeah. Is that going to be a streaming?
It's gonna be on Netflix.
Okay.
I'm not sure when it comes out. It's sometime this year.
It's a Netflix movie. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I kind of wish it wasn't because it's Aardman and I would like to see Aardman on the big screen, but
Hmm.
oh well.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Okay, so that was the best movies. That was all the movies, all the animated movies of 2022. Yeah, we're going to be doing an extra one of these later this year, hopefully, to talk about 2018 because that was the year before you and I started doing these. So in a few months, we'll probably have that coming to the new podcast whenever I launch iHeart Animation.
We're gonna go back to the past. Back to the
Yes.
past.
Yeah.
Samurai Jack.
I feel like we should maybe occasionally just do that, like keep going backwards, like 2017, 2016. I think it would be a good, I don't know,
Hey, I'd be down.
retrospective.
I'd be down for it.
Okay, well, until next time, do you want to let people know where they can find you if they want more from you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Katie Draws Things. I draw things and I like anime. I do comic book covers and I talk about anime movies because they're the best. It's the best medium. Fight me.
Okay. Well, until next time.
Please don't fight me.
Thanks for listening to iHeart Animation. If you like what you've heard, make sure to subscribe on your preferred podcast platform or to our YouTube channel. Make sure to follow my co-hosts as well, and if you want more content from us, check out one of the other podcasts in the iHeart Movies Podcast Network, or check out my brand new Patreon. My link tree, as well as any other relevant links, will be in the description. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, so thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.